Very good afternoon, students. So today we are going to start our chapter number 7 of bio section, that is control and coordination. Okay, the name of our chapter is control and coordination. So we know that our body performs, not only our body, all the living organisms body performs various functions. Okay, for example, walking, sitting, standing, sleeping, thinking, and so many more. So these all functions are performed by our body. And have you ever thought that who gives the command for performing these functions to our body or in all the living organisms? So in our body, a coordination system is there, a control and coordination system is there, which gives the command to our body to perform various functions. So if we talk about human beings and animals, we have nervous system and hormonal system for the control and coordinations. We are having nervous system, which includes brain and spinal cord, and hormonal system, which includes various chemicals for controlling various functions of our body. Secondly, if we talk about plants, in their body also so many changes takes place, so many different functions also takes place. So how plants manage to do these all functions? They are not having any sense organs like us. They are not having brains. They are not having spinal cords. Means nervous system is absent in case of plants, but they are having hormonal system. Now what actually hormones are? These hormones are chemical substance which are responsible for various functions in our body. So in case of plants, they are having hormonal system for control and coordinations. So generally now we will be talking about hormones which are present in plants and which functions is controlled by which type of hormone. Before that, we are performing so many functions, but we are performing these functions in response to something. For example, we are touching a hot glass and suddenly we take away our hand, we take our hands away from that hot glass. So something which causes any changes in our body, that is called stimuli, or the body against which performs various functions, that is called stimuli. In the case, the hot glass is the stimuli which causes changes in our body, that glass is called what? It is called stimuli. Okay, so in this way there are so many stimuli according to which our body performs various responses. Okay, so now let's see how the control and coordination takes place in plants. So basically there are 4 types of hormones present in plants which controls various functions of plants. Like auxin, this is the first hormone which controls the various functions in plants. Second is gibberellins, third cytokinins, and fourth abscisic acid. Auxin, gibberellins, cytokinins, then abscisic acid. So these 4 hormones controls almost all the functions of our plants. Okay, now what is the role of auxin? Let's see. This auxin hormones basically helps in cell enlargement. Okay, means when the cell will enlarge, then only growth will take place. So generally it helps in the cell enlargement and cell differentiation. So means growth of the plants, and it also helps in fruit growth. Okay, means how the fruit will grow. So growth of fruit is also controlled by the hormone auxin. Then it also helps in the plants to respond against light and gravity, to response towards light and gravity. We have seen so many plants, they grow towards light. Okay, so this response towards light and the response towards gravity is also controlled by auxin hormones. So generally auxin helps in the growth of the plant. Other than that, this auxin hormones has some other functions also. Okay, so generally these functions are the main functions which are performed by these auxin hormones, and this auxin hormones is present and prepared by the cells which are present at the tip of the stems. Means the cells which are present at the tip, they forms or they make this auxin hormones. Okay, in this way the growth of the plant take place. Now second is gibberellins. Now how this gibberellins helps? This gibberellins works with this auxin hormones, and means this gibberellins helps the auxin hormones in the growth of the plant. So it also helps in cell enlargement and cell differentiation. Gibberellins also helps in cell enlargement and cell differentiation. Then it helps in breaking dormancy. Now what is dormancy actually? It is the state of inactivity. Means we have seen that when we grow seeds, they take 4 or 5 days to grow in a plant. Okay, to grow into a plant. So these days in which this seed is not growing, that is the period of inactivity, which is called dormancy. So basically this gibberellins helps in breaking the dormancy also, and it helps in fruit growth also. It helps in cell enlargement, cell differentiation, breaking dormancy, and also helps in fruit growth. Next, if we talk about cytokinin, this is the another hormone which is present in plants and responsible for various functions of the plants. This cytokinin helps in cell division, means growth of the cell, enlargement of the cell. These two hormones works, but cell division will this hormone cytokinin will help in the division of the cell. Okay, next it also helps in breaking dormancy. Again, the inactivity state, it helps in breaking the inactivity state of various seeds and plants. Then next it delay aging. Delay aging means we have seen that plants they will grow, they will the age will come, then they will die also. So this hormone cytokinin is responsible for the delay of aging, and it will also stop the yellowing or wilting of the leaves and falling of the leaves. Then this hormone cytokinin helps in the opening of stomata, and we know that small minute pores are present on the surface of the leaves through which exchange of various substances takes place. So opening of stomata is also helped by cytokinin and also helps in fruit growth. So these are the functions of cytokinin. Our next hormone is abscisic acid. Now this abscisic acid is basically act as a growth inhibitor. Now what do you mean by growth inhibitor? Growth inhibitor means something which stops the growth. So till now here these all hormones are helping in the growth of the plant, but here now this hormone at the certain period when the certain age will be reached, so this hormone will stop the growth of the plant. It will stop all the functions of the growth. Okay, next it also promotes dormancy. They were breaking the dormancy, but it is promoting the dormancy. Then this hormone was helping in the opening of stomata, but this hormone helps in the closing of stomata. Then they also promotes wilting of leaves. Wilting of leaves means the age will come when the leaf will turn yellow and they will fall down. So this hormone abscisic acid is basically responsible for the wilting of the leaves. So basically these four hormones are present in plants and which are responsible for all the functions of the plants. Now we will see the control and coordination of higher organisms like animals or human beings. Okay students, so we have already studied here the various types of chemicals present in plants and accordingly the movements shown by the plants. Now what we will see here? We will see the movements basically of plants in response to stimulus and in against of stimulus. What is stimulus? The things which causes any changes in the body of an organism is called stimulus. The tropism, the word here tropism means movement, and basically the movement shown by the plants. Okay, so there are two types of tropism. One is positive tropism and another one is negative tropism. Now what is positive tropism? Positive tropism means the movement of plants towards stimulus. If the movement of plant is towards the stimulus, then it is called positive tropism, and if the movement of plant is against tropism, against stimulus, it is called negative tropism. Now generally there are 5 different types of movement towards the stimulus is shown by the plants that we will see. The number 1 is phototropism, then geotropism, chemotropism, hydrotropism and thigmotropism. Here tropism means movement. Now what this photo means? Basically here the word photo means light. Okay, if the plant shows movement towards light, then it will be called phototropism. Photo means light and movement towards light is called phototropism. Now you all know the plant sunflower. It moves towards the direction of sun. That's why it is called sunflower. And again, you all have observed that whenever we keep a flower near the window, and we have seen the flowers or the plant going outside the window because it moves towards the light. Okay, so that types of movement it is called phototropism. The second movement is geotropism. Here the word geo means gravity and tropism means movement. If the plant shows movement towards the gravity, it is called geotropism. It is called positive geotropism, and if movement is against the gravity, it is called negative geotropism. How we can understand it? Very simple. We have seen that the roots, they grow towards the gravity. So they are showing positive geotropism, and the stem, it grows against from the gravity. That's why they are showing negative geotropism. Next is our chemotropism. Chemo means basically chemicals, and we know that the plants, they basically grow towards the chemical substances. If the tropism or movement is towards the chemical, it is called chemotropism. Next is our hydrotropism. The word hydro means water. If the movement of plant is towards the water, it is called hydrotropism. Positive hydrotropism is towards the water, negative hydrotropism against the water. Example, roots. They grow towards the water and they are showing positive hydrotropism. Thigmo means touch. If plant shows movement in response to touch, it is called thigmotropism. So these all are the different types of movements shown by the plants. Okay students, so before we go further to our topic nervous system, before that we should also know that in our body there are various sense organs which sense the difference, which are active towards various different types of stimulus. Due to these sense organs, there present various types of receptors which take the information from the external environment and gives to our main system, that is our nervous system, which includes brain and spinal cord. Then only our body gets a command to do that particular work. Okay, so various types of receptors are present in our body, like photoreceptors. These receptors basically detects the light which are present in our eyes. Then we can say photoreceptors are there. Then phonoreceptors. These phonoreceptors basically present in our ears, which detect the sound. Then olfactory receptors, which detect the smell. Then we can say gustatory receptors, which detect the taste. And then we can say thermoreceptors, which detect the heat and cold. So these various types of receptors, they are present in our body, which basically takes the message and gives towards the main organs of our body. So now let's start our main system, that is our nervous system. This nervous system is divided into two types, that is central nervous system and comes peripheral nervous system. This central nervous system consisting of brain and spinal cord. What is present in this central nervous system? Brain and spinal cord. And if we talk about peripheral nervous system, it is again divided into autonomic nervous system and voluntary nervous system. Now let's first see the central nervous system is the basically main nervous system, which consisting of our brain and spinal cord, which gives the command to our body to do various functions. And this peripheral nervous system, it consisting of various nerves which connects our body parts with these main organs. Okay, and this peripheral also, it can be of two types, autonomic and voluntary. It means some nervous systems which we can control by ourselves, some are there which we cannot control them. Okay, so now let's see these central nervous system, which includes brain and spinal cord in detail. So students, see, the main important unit of our nervous system is basically neuron. So in our board exam also, this structure of neuron is asked. Okay, so you have to learn the structure of neuron very nicely. So now see, what is basically this neuron? These various types of neurons are there. Three types of neurons are there: sensory, motor and relay neurons. These all are, as I told, that receptor cells are present, and they receptor cells, they take the message and they pass to our brain and spinal cord through these nerves. These are connected one by one, and these are joining our different parts of the body to the brain and spinal cord. So basically the unit of nervous system is neuron. Okay, so now if we see the structure of neuron, it is very simple. Okay, so basically it comes, the cell body comes, this is our nucleus. It consists of cell body, consists of nucleus, consists of dendrites, then main thin fiber, that is your axon, and it then comes your nerve ending. So whatever information, it takes place through the dendrites. Whatever information comes, it takes place through the dendrites, then it passes towards the axon into the nerve ending, and here below the nerve ending another neuron is present which passes the information to other neurons. So basically, as I told you, three types of neurons are there: sensory neuron, motor neuron and relay neuron. So this sensory neuron, what they do, once the receptor cells takes the information, it passes towards the sensory neuron. This sensory neuron, they takes the information, they takes a message and they passes towards the brain, either towards the spinal cord. Whatever information is there, maybe if the information is taken by the eye cells or ear cells or mouth cells, so this information will be passed toward the brain, and if it will be taken by hands or legs, and then it will be passed towards the that is spinal cord. Okay, so whatever information is there, it is passed toward the brain through the sensory neurons. After that, once the information is passed to the our brain and to our spinal cord, they see the information, they take the information, then they pass the command through motor neuron. Means whatever information is there, it is taken to the brain through sensory neurons, and whatever information or messages brain or spinal cord gives to the body part, it is taken through the motor neuron. So afterward, this relay neurons, these are present between your both the neurons, and they helps in the transmitting the information. Understood now different types of neuron and what is the work of neuron? Basically the work of neuron is to transfer the information from the body parts to the brain and from the brain to the various body parts. Then only the response will be created. Like for example, a hot glass was there and you were touching that hot glass. As soon as you brought your hand near the glass, what happens? You feel very hot, you felt very hot, so you have taken away your hand from that glass. It means what? The cells or the receptors which are present on your hand, they have detected that heat. As I told you, thermoreceptors are there which detect the heat and cold. So they detected the heat, and what they have done, through their sensory neuron, they passed the information towards our brain or spinal cord. Spinal cord detected that information as a very danger, and they have given the command through the motor neuron to your hand that take your hand away, and this movement and this whole process is very fast, and it takes less than half a minute to takes all these things. Okay, let's talk about our brain. See the structure of brain. If basically we will see the brain, it is the most important organ in our body, and this brain is protected and it is present inside a bony box, and that is known as cranium. So brain is basically covered and it is present inside the cranium, which is a bony box made up of bones. Second thing is that the brain is made up of two layers. Okay, the brain is made up of layers, and these layers are called meninges. Okay, what is the layers of brain are called? They are called meninges. If you will see the meninges, layers of brain, they in between consist of fluid which protects our brain, and that fluid is known as cerebrospinal fluid. What is the name of that fluid? It is the cerebrospinal fluid which is present between the layers of our brain. If we see the division of our brain, it is divided into three parts, that is forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Our brain is divided into three parts: forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. The forebrain has a division that is called cerebrum, and basically cerebrum is the most largest part of our body, and it is responsible for various thinking, intelligence and other responses of our body. Next is our midbrain, which has no further division as such. And if we will see the hindbrain, again it is divided into pons, cerebellum and medulla. Basically these three parts of brain, the function is also different. Okay, the functions of all the three parts of the brain, it is different. As I told you, forebrain, it consists of cerebrum, so it helps in basically the thinking, and whatever thinking questions or whatever we are thinking, it is basically controlled by this brain. And again intelligence also, reasoning also, all these is controlled by forebrain. And the midbrain is also having some important functions which are responsible for various actions in our body. Now, if we talk about the function of midbrain, basically midbrain helps in the all the reflex actions of our body, and for that command is given by midbrain, reflex action that we will see in our other part. Okay, and again the size of the pupil changes, if the more light enters or less light enters, that is also controlled by our midbrain. Now, what is the function of hindbrain? This basically the function of hindbrain is to maintain the posture of our body, and it also helps in balancing of our body. Then respiration points also are there present on the hindbrain. So in this way all the three parts of brain, they performs very important function of our body. In all, if we talk about the various functions of the brain, brain gives a command to our body, then brain controls all the functions of our body in a coordinated way. It has the part for learning, thinking, reasoning, etc. It has the part which controls the reflex action. It also helps in the it also has the memory to understand and to store the information in our brain. They also helps in maintaining the body postures and balance of our body, and more functions the brain is having in our body. Now let's see what is spinal cord then. The end of the brain means hind brain, the next medulla. Okay, from that region a bone extends, we can say rod like structure extends towards our back. That is called our spinal cord, and this spinal cord is protected into the bony covering that is called your vertebral column. Basically, as much as your brain is important for controlling your body, in the same manner the spinal cord is also very much important for controlling various functions of the body. Whatever information is there below your neck region, the information is not carried to the brain, it is also carried to the spinal cord. Then spinal cord gives the command for performing various functions. Okay, now here we have seen how the nervous system helps in controlling the body. Now let's see the reflex action. Now, what is reflex action? Basically, the sudden actions which our body performs in response to any stimulus, that actions are called reflex action. What are reflex action? Sudden actions performed by our body in response to any stimulus is called reflex action. And what is reflex arc then? This reflex arc is basically the path through which the reflex action process takes place. Okay, the path by which the reflex action takes place. So, what kind of movements we can include in reflex action? Blinking of eyes. Okay, it is also a reflex action. Then sneezing, also a reflex action. Then taking your hand away from a hot glass is also a reflex action. Taking your hand away from the stones or from the glass, or from glass means your that one, and also from these spines and these all things also are reflex actions. And these all are basically the reflex action, sudden actions which are performed in response to any stimulus. So this is the whole path how a reflex action takes place. Okay, basically the stimulus means the things which causes changes in our body. Okay, here stimulus is heat. As soon as the heat, our hand comes in response to heat, what happens? The receptors cells which are present in our hand, they will take the information. Then from here, through sensory neuron, the information is sent to our spinal cord, which is a very important part of our nervous system. This spinal cord takes the information, detect it as a danger, and then it gives the command to motor neuron. It gives the command through motor neuron, and this motor neuron takes that command to the effector, means basically our hand. Okay, here they will take the information and they will give information to the hand that you have to take your hand away, and what will be our response? We will lift our hand away from that hot object. In the whole way, the reflex action takes place, and this path is called reflex arc. Understood? So how the reflex action takes place in our body. Students, now let's see the endocrine system for control and coordination. As I told you that in human beings, the control and coordination process is controlled by nervous system also, and it is controlled by hormonal system, that is endocrine glands also. Basically, what are these endocrine glands? These endocrine glands, they secretes various types of chemical substances which are very important for giving various command to our body and performing various functions in our body. Basically, these chemical substances, they are called hormones. Now, what are hormones? Hormones are the chemical substances secreted by the endocrine glands which gives information or messages to our various body parts for performing various functions. Okay, so now let's see the various types of glands and the hormones secreted by them. The first gland is hypothalamus gland. It is present in our brain region, and basically what is the function of hypothalamus gland? The hypothalamus gland secretes the hormone called releasing hormone and inhibitory hormone. Now, releasing hormone, what they do? They give command to pituitary gland to release their hormone, and whenever the hormones are sufficient in the body, they only secrete the inhibitory hormone which gives command to pituitary gland to stop secreting the further hormones. So what is the function of hypothalamus? To secrete releasing hormones and inhibitory hormones. Now, in presence of releasing hormones, next gland is our pituitary gland, which is present below hypothalamus, and this pituitary gland secretes various kinds of hormones. Okay, one of the hormones of pituitary gland is growth hormones. We know that in some person the growth is very good, and in some person the growth is very less. Means some person they become very tall and some person they become very short. This tallness and dwarfness in various human beings is due to the presence of growth hormone. If pituitary gland secretes more growth hormone, then the height will be more. If it secretes less growth hormone, then the height will be less. The next gland in our body is thyroid gland, and this thyroid gland is present in our, basically we can say, in our throat region. Okay, which kind of hormone is secreted by thyroid gland? Thyroid gland secretes the hormone known as thyroxine. The thyroxine plays a very important role in digesting various types of carbohydrates, fats, etc. in our body. Means in the metabolic process they play a very important role. And do you know, student, in the absence of thyroxine hormone, we suffer from a disease known as goiter. Okay, this this throat region of the person, it swells and they are unable to breathe properly, eat properly, etc. Now, this thyroid gland, if it requires the iodine hormone to prepare the thyroxine and to secrete. If there is an absence of iodine, we are taking that iodine with our salt. Okay, common salt which we are taking, it consists of iodine, which is very necessary for our thyroid gland to secrete thyroxine hormone. Now, next is our parathyroid. This parathyroid, there are 4 parathyroid gland present on the thyroid glands which secretes the hormone known as parathormone. This parathormone, basically, what is the function of parathormone? It regulates the calcium and phosphate level in our blood. Okay, now next gland is our thymus. This thymus is present below our neck and above our chest region, and this thymus secretes the thymus hormone, and it plays a very important role in the development of our immune system. Basically, our immune system protects our body against various types of microorganisms, various types of foreign bodies which enters in our body. Next is our pancreas. Okay, these pancreas, what they secrete? They secrete the hormone known as insulin. What is the hormone secreted by pancreas known as? It is known as insulin. And what is the function of insulin? See student, the human beings in which this hormone insulin is not secreted properly, they suffer from a disease known as diabetes. Okay, they also call it sugar also. They suffer from the disease known as diabetes. The function of insulin is to digest the sugar present in our blood. If lesser amount of insulin will be secreted, lesser amount of sugar will be digested, and in our blood the sugar level will increase and we will suffer from the disease known as diabetes. Now next is adrenal gland. These adrenal glands are present above kidney. Two adrenal glands are there which are present above kidney, and the function of adrenal is to secrete the hormone known as adrenaline, or which is also known as stress hormone. Basically, this adrenaline is secreted in response of stress. You have all seen that whenever we see danger, or whenever we are sitting on a wheel, means giant wheel, in the amusement park, or whenever a dog is behind us, or whenever we have to give some speech or something, we feel very nervous from inside and our heartbeat increases. That time this adrenal gland secretes the adrenaline. The function of adrenaline is to increase our heartbeat. More the heartbeat, more will be the blood circulated in our body. More the blood will be circulated, more oxygen our body will get, and we will feel relaxed in that particular condition. Okay, next is this testes. These testes are basically present only in male, and they secrete the hormones known as androgen. What is the hormone secreted by testes? These are present in male and they secrete male hormone, that is androgen. And the function of androgen is to they help in the properly growth of the sperms. And the ovaries, these ovaries are present only in female, and they are responsible for the secretion of female hormones, that is estrogen and progesterone, which helps in the proper development of the ovum or egg in our body. So students, here we have completed our chapter, and you can also listen the video very carefully, and you can note down the important points in your copy, and later on I'll provide you the PDF of this chapter. And you have, if any doubt is there, then you can ask also later. Thank you.